Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wherever you are, welcome back to the session of today. And here we are, it's one on one. The security is ready on the point to make sure that everything is so awesome. The dog that had been a little bit having a challenge, it's now well and it's doing very much. Here we are, guys. Today it's going to be an update that I'm going to be giving you an overall update to make sure that everyone is getting the real point on what is happening outside here. If the fire is burning or maybe it's still blank, so everyone has to make sure that everything is awesome. Here we are. So guys, today we have much of the things to reveal, and today I had here to our home, my brother, who is just a driver, had a little bit of the circumcision that was going on today, and it was a celebration. So that's why you see me today, I'm just like dizzy a little bit, because before you go for a circumcision, you know, we have an after circumcision ceremony, so a day before. So people do dance to make sure that they are getting to that point, roitaling every time, the whole night, and the music is playing. People are coming to put their heads together, accommodate themselves to make sure that they are protecting. Like whenever you have like a radio somewhere getting a music and people are relaxing a little bit to a certain position, and you know, you have that morale and motivation to other people so that they can just still be awake the whole day. And that's kind of a day, it's seemingly people are doing something called a traditional drink called bosara, or you can call it in Swahili, you can call it togwa. So such kind of a drink, it's a unifying and a unity way of a drink that it's like the one that Jesus changed into wine. So here we have a traditional one that's always being prepared a day before the celebration, and it's put a catalyst. You know, it's called the millet catalyst. Whenever the millet is subjected into water, and then it shoot a little bit, or it germinate, then it's removed from that kind of a watery, then it's put to sun dry, then after there it's now being grinded to make a powder, and now that's called a catalyst. So that catalyst is just to prepare a porridge, which is a cassava porridge. Then you just insert inside such kind of you don't put any sugar to that porridge, then you pour it to a certain position where it can ferment easily, and that kind of a position where you are just going to put it, it should be a container that is good in fermentation. It's the same as, I don't know, in your area, if you're going to prepare something like cassava before the cassava to mill, in terms of we call it the cassava flour. So before you mill it, whenever you know that okay, you have prepared the cassava, got the cassava from the garden, put it at home, you just peel it off the barks, then you insert it. Some people wash it, then you insert it into a sack or a specific container so as it can ferment for 2 to 3 days. Then it's removed from there while it's creamy like, then it's placed to the sun dry to make sure that it's now hardening and compacting itself. Then from there, whenever it's now sun dried properly, then you can go to a machine and mill it. So it's the same as the one I'm talking about, the millet. So that kind of a cassava, whenever you prepare it with porridge, and you put there some of 2-3 sorghum, or the sorghum inside there, and also a little bit of the millet, then whenever you mill it, it got a powder. So you mix it properly, then you prepare a porridge of the cassava, and you insert it in a container, which is good in terms of fermentation processes, because if you don't put in a container which is good in fermentation processes, it cannot catalyze it properly, because it's the same as the people who are just fermenting the wine. They have specific drums that they are using, that they have gone through the process of fermentation, so they have that philanthropic way of people talking about, this has been into this process for so long, so whenever you use it again, it will be quick, it will quick the reaction very fast. So we have such kind of the containers that we are using. In much of the traditional in Korea land here, they were using something like a pot. a very big pot, and it's placed in a certain corner where there is a little bit of heat, and you just pour there some porridge. Then you take a handful of the millet, which is a catalyst. Then you place it to the bottom level. Then you pour porridge. Then you pour a little bit. So whenever you pour, if it's you are having a small sufuria, which is a sufuria, is a pot that's using to make that porridge. Whenever you pour it into that kind of a container, you add a little bit of the catalyst, so it will speed up the chemical reaction and make sure that the components that are placed there, they'll just antagonize themselves and make sure that they are coming in the following day. After 4 to 6 hours, the fermentation will start very quickly, and it will catalyze that porridge, and it will cut it in a way that that kind of a porridge now will be like water. So that water now we are talking about, it's a watery drink that whenever you just take it, it's saltless and it's sugarless. Then it's very, very properly for people to drink. So whenever you now it's in the early in the morning, before you prepare the boy to go for the circumcision, you should make sure that early in the morning, while it's still hot, because it's prepared from 8 p.m. to around 000 at the night. So whenever it reaches at 4 a.m. in the morning, you just take a little bit, you have to stir early in the morning to make sure that now that component or the catalyst is catalyzing everything. So you have to scoop a little bit of a cup to make sure that you are giving some of the people who are preparing the boy to take the boy to the circumcision process. And very early in the morning, we should wake up very early in the morning, prepare the boy, and take him to. We have a traditional way of circumcision, and we have a hospital way of circumcision. So it now differs which point are you getting that guy. So if he's a young boy who cannot withstand the manual operation, he just goes to the hospital. So to the manual operation, because it's one that we are always being subjected to, the kind of a boy is prepared very early to go and have a queue, because there are so many people. It's a whole tribe. It's always coming together, and it's a circumcision. It's for the whole tribe, and whenever now they are now queuing at that position, we have the people who are related to the person who is circumcising the boys, which is a manual circumcision, because it's a heritage. So from that kind of a position, can talk about the people who are from the same, we have same clan, so they are just circumcised inside. Here in the traditional customs, our homes are enclosed. If you have ever seen the people, the houses are surrounding, then they live at the middle stage, there's nothing there. So the people are at the same clan, they're circumcised at the same inside the home, the household, the talk about the compound, inside the compound. But the others who are not related as the clan, so or the clan elders are related to the other person who is circumcising, because we have the village, talk about they're called the village clans. Also we have the people who are controlling that kind of the customs to continue. So if they're not related to such kind of a thing, they're just circumcised outside outside the home. So they're just queuing there openly, and you just have only it's called a top, which is only a shirt. Then you should have everything prepared very muchly, like whenever you are now circumcised, very lady there and everything like that one. If you cannot go to that homestead to be circumcised as one of the clan people, or your family is associated with that clan of the people who are circumcising, you are the circumciser, the person who is circumcising can come to your comfort zone, can come to your home, or can come to a certain position, so as they can if you are so many, they will come to a certain position to start with you. And whenever you are related to a person who is circumcised, you are the people who are being started with. And whenever now they are finishing with the people who are related to the person who is circumcising, or the aged, the elderly, they now go to the other people who are not related. And that is it. And to an impromptu, people will be asking about, is it medicated? So the government allows, the only thing that's not allowed here in our custom, but it was being there in previously, it was FGM, female genital mutilation. So it was being conducted, but the government abolished it. And I think it was not good for the girls to be circumcised. Here we are. And right now, if the government can get a family that has been circumcising their own daughter, it will be a KO, and it will be just a case to the court. So you'll just go and tell people, why are you molesting such kind of a lady? And that is it. You can just be sentenced into even 17 to 30 years in prison, or bonding and something like that one. So that's how it is. So whenever now the boys are circumcised, they have it's called like the fabric, like the ones I'm giving to the mothers, like called the kitenge. So they just placed it, the shirt is there, now the downwards, now it's circumcised. So you just be there whenever the blood drains and it now stops. Now they have some customs there that they're just using to you to make sure that the blood is not oozing much. And from there, yeah, you are now having events now, guys, that the radio is now getting out, because we hire some of the radios here, and you can hear it. They are there. Exactly. Exactly. So it's now they're just finishing their own, you know, you have to hire a radio to come, and I'm coming to that process, guys. So whenever now the guys is circumcised very properly, and now it's he's just put the kind of a fabric or a kitenge to enclose everything, and they have a technique. They're told that your cucumber has to be held, so you have to hold it like a cigarette to make sure that it's not, you know, whenever that blood is oozing out and the place that is cut, it's oozing much of the blood. So whenever it attaches to your pears, it can stick there properly. So it will be very, very hard time for you to take it out. So it will be so cruel, and it will be very not good in terms of it will be so there's a term I can just use there to say that it will be so itching, and also it will be something that it can even make you to cry, because it's not a good. Whenever blood sticks to even another substance, it will just stuck there very properly. So they have to touch it like a cigarette to make sure that it's not getting contamination. And also we have, if you don't hold it properly like a cigarette, that kind of the cut that was cut from there, it can still grow, and it can come and cover again. So they are just told that you should be very, very careful whenever you are just holding it whenever you are now going home. And the customs here, we have traditional songs that are always being played, and also we have radios there, and people do dance very properly. People dance very properly to make sure that they're celebrating that guy person is coming from a boyhood to a manhood. And it's a process that even it's still a custom, and people talk about it's one of the customs that are always available, and they should be there, because we were born and we got that kind of the customs being progressing. And from there now you have to queue, and you know, whenever now they're queuing from the place where now the custom or the circumcision is always being conducted, they have to queue in a way that the first one who was circumcised the first is the one to queue for the first, and whoever was circumcised the last will be the last. And if we have some people who are circumcised maybe the day before, before the person who is there circumcised, they are the ones who will start again the lane, because we have them going to make sure that they are going to rescue them, or it's an act of showing that we are together. They're the people who are going to queue there who were circumcised a day before, and the ones who are circumcised the same day will now queue from there. And it's a custom that's always prevailing until date. So you are going to dance and making sure that you are putting some money to them, and whenever they reach at the home, it's now very fantastic. So there's a tradition that whenever you are living in the same room, or you are living your father and the person who is maybe like me right now, I'm living with my father here. So if I have a son who I want to circumcise, we cannot pass through the same gate my father is passing. I should have, or that gate will be separated into two. They'll put a stick from top to the bottom to separate the gate into two halves. So I'll just get through the one part, so as it will determine that one place and one gate that's separated, it's for me, the other gate's for my dad. So my son will just get through the entry of where I can just be passing like this is my gate. So we have such kind of the customs. And also whenever he comes, he should not be placed in he should placed in his own room. Like now he's not a boy again for you to live with. So that's why you see some people, whenever they're constructing some houses, they're talking about, I have a son. So whenever the son will be circumcised, whatever hospital or traditional, it's a circumcision time, like right now. It's acknowledged that circumcision is circumcision. But even the person who's circumcising at the hospital, it's not anyone. It's not an anyone doctor. So it's a person who has been selected with even the village elders to make sure that he's circumcising the boys, and shouldn't be in the same clan and the same tribe. Exactly. So guys, from that one, now whenever you reach at home, you should have some of the mats, and you should just get to a certain room for the boy. Whenever he just get inside, you're gonna be sitting to his own room and rest there. So you should have a person who is called a standing man, who will be the one who is looking after the guy. And if I say such kind of a thing, we should have a spear. And a spear, it's a way of now a manhood. Now you are now able, you can do your own things, you are circumcised. So this is where Mr. Cecil messed. He never knew that we have our own customs, and whenever you are now circumcised, you are given a spear. And that kind of a spear, it's being used to now dictate that you are now from a boyhood to an adulthood. And that kind of a spear now, whenever you are now good, you have healed properly, and there's a celebration after healing. And that kind of a celebration, if your father was ever been hitting you, now you will be like, now your father will be asking for permission too. It's not a way that okay, I'm like me now. Whenever I was not circumcised, my father could tell me, I'll hit you like a Cherokee drum, do this and this and this, I want to do that one. No, I don't want you to do this one into my home. So whenever you are now circumcised, you are given that spear, and you are now healing, and you have healed properly. Now there is a celebration to clarify that you are now a manhood. Now you have come out of the boyhood. So you are now going to be allowed, even your father will be asking for a permission. So that's the biggest. So that kind of a spear, the biggest need of that spear is to make sure that you are now ready to go and roar like a lion outside there. You can now go and, you know, in a traditional and anciently, in 19th century there, 20th century, whenever you are given a spear, you are now ready to do anything. You can go and search for food. You know, in our culture, it's called the Korean culture, or the Bantu speakers. They are called, they're hunting. In terms of, we can talk about social, the social, we can talk about the social activities that the tribe will be doing. So they were hunting to make sure that the men were going to hunt, and the female were remaining at home to make sure that they are protecting their homes. So even taking care of the children, and making sure that they are molding their houses. A German, the only thing, you know, in the tradition they had the heart-shaped houses, and even today they're still existing. One day I'll go to such kind of a position so as you can see what I mean. And whenever now it's just constructed, the female are the ones who are just allowed to make sure that they are molding the house when it's just already constructed. It's just a skeleton. And whenever now a man goes to look for the food, or to look or to hunt, to make sure that whenever they come back, even after 1 month, they're going to be coming back because they go to hunt the wild animals. So that's why now we can talk about you are using that spear you are be given, because now you are a man, and you are allowed now to marry whenever you are circumcised. Not like right today, people are circumcised even 10 years, 20 years, 14, any age, from any age from 12 years, they're being circumcised. So this age is a little bit smaller right now because of the century has moved. And also, you know, in the traditional time, we had a way that self-esteem and courageous enough. If you are courageous enough, right now people are just small boys of 12, 14, 15, 17, mostly to 17. They are now being circumcised because they are courageous enough to go to the traditional way. But people are seeing that as, okay, we can just take to our boy to the hospital. It's allowed to. That's why now the age, it has now decreased a little bit from 12. But anciently, 19th and 20th century, you have to get 18 years and above for you to go to be circumcised. And now, whenever you come back, wherever now you be celebrated that you are now a manhood, you are now allowed to do what? You are now allowed to marry. And you have to marry because in ancient time, that's why they talk about, and that's why you see always they're saying that our tribe is diminished, our tribe is like this one, we don't have much of the development. It's a small language group in Kenya. Yes, we have 42 language groups in Kenya, but our tribe, it's one of the smallest speaking native Korean native language, and it's the smallest one in Kenya. So the valid point now, it's here. Now, whenever you now be good, you are now, it's called koroka. It's an act of now people saying that you have healed properly and you have been given a name. And that name is of an age set that was circumcised. So that name will be just dictating to the entire and your whole system. You can talk about the whole clan will just know. You are just called Matwema. You are just called this age group or an age set is called Matwema. Or that, you know, it's now after every 3 years they're circumcising. So that's my big point. So they're given a name for that year people were circumcised. And it's a very large community because we have different people are just located in this tribe. So that's how people are now given a name for you to be clarified. Like me, whenever I go to somewhere where people are gathering and they ask me, what's the name of your circumcision or your age set? What's your name of your age set? They talk about my circumcision age set was this called Matwema. They talk about, at 2008, 2013, 2011. So they know it. So you'll find there are some people who are circumcised with you. So you'll now know each other. And, you know, in the traditional time, this is where now Mr. Cecil was not given the real valid point about this is how it is. Whenever now you are now ready and you are now your father has pronounced and announced that you are now ready to be a man and you can compete with him, so you have to marry. Because two bulls cannot stay at one point, because your father now has now oriented you that you can be a man. So everyone now it's declaring. Not like right now, the age of 11, 12, 13, 14, they cannot be. But at the age of... nowadays, it has changed. The customs have changed. People are now circumcising very small boys. It's not like the past. So in the traditional, they were now submerged to go and hunt for themselves, because before they could be circumcised, they were staying with their mothers to make sure that they are molding some houses, they are taking care of the goats, they're taking care of, talk about this kind of the animals. So whenever now they're circumcised and are now subjected to manhood, you are now going, even the fathers have already selected where you are going to marry. They have already Googled, there's a girl somewhere. You have to go there and select that girl. And you have to. Your father is the one who is going to talk to that family. I have my son. I have circumcised my son. My son is this age set. And making sure that now is going to be a man. So I'm proposing this kind of a girl. And that's why in the ancient time, people were illiterate and they were just like praising the dowry in terms of cows. So people just think that, okay, my son or my daughter or this kind of a daughter, she has studied to this kind of a level. Maybe it's grade 4. Grade 4 was a very big, that was an elite in that village. A grade 4, that was an elite. Now when we get now a grade 8, now you are the master. Now you are the master of ceremony. So the more the grade, the more the cows. You can find that at grade 4, the dowry was 30 cows. Or the cows was 50. So in the past, so you find that now whenever you are now manhood, you are now being prepared to a manhood, your father separates the cows or the goats that you are having to your home. So you are given a half or 3/4 or this. If you are the only son, you are given a half or 3/4. For your father now is now nothing to do with you. So you are given your own things to go and prepare and get your own home to somewhere. So now you can go and hunt outside there. So whenever the wild animals decreased in the number, so they started that kind of the cattle wrestling. So that's why now Mr. Cecil confused himself. He never knew that it was acting several years ago. They were allowed to go and steal. They were allowed to go and to make sure that that kind of an age set, they are just planning themselves, they go and steal. And whenever they come home, before, you know guys, before that kind of a circumcision ceremony is held, the boys were being collected everywhere, and they are told that the same specific day, you know, in the ancient time they were using horns to make sure that they're communicating. They are using smokes to communicate, you know. And also they were using foot. People will just go to the river via the mouth, you know. And you know, in the ancient time, people were just scarcely populated. And they were here very several kilometers. You could just be walking. And whenever now they are collected, they are coming to a certain field. They are now told that from this position, you are going to stay here for like a week. So as you are going to be oriented to some of the customs that you have to be in. Because you were boys, now you want to go to be a manhood, you are now being taught on how to be a man. So in that kind of an area, now they were told, you have only tomorrow, tomorrow but one will be circumcised. They were now allowed to go and raid from a different village, not the same tribe, different tribe. Outside there, they go and raid as a whole team. Not as an individual, but they were old enough, 20 years and above. They were so big men. Even me, it's now like right now, I could be circumcised in the ancient time of 18th, 19th, and 20th century. Like the 21st century, it has changed everything. So like right now, how I am, it's now the time I could be subjected to we can talk about the circumcision. So you can now see how I am. So I can think, I can act, I can run, I can make sure that I'm hiding. I know how to use the senses. I know how to use this spear, I have to know do this one. So they were now allowed as a group. They were going to raid a certain position. They are selected. This and this and these boys were just going to be allowed to go and take the cows. The others to guard. Others to make sure that the road is safe. So whenever they come back with those cows, they are now being told that now you are ready. Now you are ready. It's the same as the Somaliland or the Somali. No, not Somali. They're called Maasai. They're same to Maasai people who are... whenever you want to be an age set, they were allowed to go and kill a wild animal like a lion. And whenever they kill a lion, they are now told that now you are able to do it. Until the day you are just subjected to the field. No food, nothing. You are now told you can hunt, you can cook. What we need is a lion. So whenever you go to a several kilometers from your area. You go and hunt, you just being rained on, you make your own. So you are prepared to be a man, because now whenever you are going to leave your wife at home, you are going to hunt. So you are allowed to go and hunt on yourself before the circumcision, so that they can just be that okay, now you are good to do it. Whenever this kind of the men who are now aged are not there, you are the people who are going to do it to them. If you have a father is an aged person, and you have to make sure that you are going to get food and bring it to the family. So that's what the biggest meaning of them to be subjected out for them to go and hunt. And specifically whenever now you go, you prepare, you hunt your own animals that you get. Maybe we can talk about wild Arab rabbits. We talk about some of antelopes there, and much more about whatever you get. Now you can just find at the same way people are going to be sick. Some people are going to be bitten by snakes. Some people are going to be maybe eaten by wild animals if you are not careful. So they were fighting much of the things to make sure that they are prepared to be manhood. But nowadays, it has changed in the 21st century. That's where now Mr. Cecil missed. He never knew the 21st century. Now it has changed. No one is being prepared to go and hunt. There's no field of people hunting. Now it's now a development has come. People are employed. You know, in the ancient time, there's no employment. Who is going to employ you? There's nothing like that one. So that's why now we can talk about people being prepared for that. And now whenever you go and hunt and come out with a lion, or you, like now the tribe, you go and make sure that you are cattle wrestlers, go and raid a cattle somewhere, you come with 300, 400, even 1,000. So whenever you are coming, a person is sent in front to come and tell the villagers that they are coming, they should be prepared. So the village elders, they gather to a certain position. Whenever the cows come, you know there's a fight. You go and steal, there's a fight. So that's why you are being given a spear for you to be a man. So as you can now act, it was now as something that was causing civil wars. Now and then, and whenever now it was abolished by the government. Even right now, if you are got as a cattle wrestler or a cattle raiding, you'll just be jailed for several years, because the government was fighting it to make sure that one tribe, until even to date, even Kenya is suffering in such kind of the conditions in Africa, not even Kenya. One tribe is fighting another tribe. Look at Kenya. Go and if you are just a person who is out of talk about you are from the overseas, go check the western, not western, talk about the northern part of Kenya. The tribes that are there, they are fighting every time. They are going to steal some cows. Now they are being prepared. That's now the point we are talking about. Even to date, there are some of the tribes that are already doing it, but not the Korean tribe right now, because we are less. You know, guys, what people doesn't know, even Mr. Cecil never knew it. He could just be Googling. Much of the Korean people, where we have reached as Koreans, we were part of Tanzania. So whenever the Second Lancaster House and Berlin Conference was held to make sure that Britons are being, now they are separating. It was called the Versailles Treaty. Was it called? The Versa what? Something like that one. So it was a treaty. I don't know, Versa what? I've just not got it very much. It was a treaty that was being signed in London, and the conferences were there. So they signed a treaty that this kind of the boundaries will be for the Britons. This one will be for the Germans. This will be for the Portuguese. So whenever they come and cut, here we are, it was part of Tanzania. That's why we have a border here. It was part of Tanzania. But whenever now that kind of a treaty was signed, there was a reframing of the boundaries. So again, now we found ourselves in Kenya whenever a boundary was cut in the Sidari. So that was the biggest point. So people don't get it. We were part of Tanzanians, because the second largest group in Tanzania are Koreans. Some people don't know that one. The first, the smallest, because we were cut a section of the Korean tribe from Tanzania. And even right now, if you trace my original home, it's not in Kenya. It's in Tanzania still. Even right now, if you trace my, talk about ancestral people, where they came from, as I'm called Sigano, I'm called Gintu, you can trace that name where it came from. It came from Tanzania. Even right now, I have my grandfathers who are still surviving are in Tanzania. And sometimes my father do take me from here to Tanzania, go and check the people who are there. So as I can be introduced, and they know that there's some of the people, whenever those people want to come to Kenya, they can come and stay here. And whenever you want to go to Tanzania, you can go and stay to that place. So that is the main point I want to deliver. here in Kenya, that's why we are the less, we are just very few Korean people who are living in Kenya, because much of the large group was left to Tanzania because of the boundary that was cut. This is the Britons and the other one. So even if you go to the map and see the bitumen roads that were built by the Italians and they reached in Kenya 1996, you'll find that there's a road, a main road that's passing through that area, and it's just going to we can talk about it's going to Migori town. It's even past Migori. It was in Tanzania, because whenever that kind of a road, it's a North Great Road that was coming from Nigeria, and it passed through Tanzania. So that main road, because the map was reading Tanzania was even this where we are up to Migori, it was in Tanzania, so we were subjected to it. That's why you see we have Luos in Migori, and they're just combined with the Tanzanians like Mayuguno. You can now understand it. So you can come to Kenya as a Luo, and you can be Tanzania as a Luo. You can be Korean in Kenya, you can be a Korean in Tanzania, and that's the biggest point. So whenever Mr. Cecil was talking something, he was not relating to what is there. He never knew the history, and that's why sometimes you have to go back. If you want to get a history of somewhere, don't go for a week. That's why people are getting a documentary of even 6 to 7, even 1 year, to have a documentary of making sure that they are getting the real valid point about one clan to another. So I was reaching to a point where now this kind of the cows are now coming. Information has reached already. Some people have run already, have blowed. You know, you have to get the information. They were using some horns. Woo, 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 woo. So the people will get the information. Or they lit fire. They send some people to a certain mountain. They lit fire to signalize the people of this area that does, or the people are coming. Oh, they are now coming. These people who are here now, they now have their own spears. They have their own talk about metals that they're going to be protecting themselves. Some we have another type called a bow. So it is just a spear and a bow. So we have such kind of it was a traditionally used very much. And whenever now they look at, oh, they're now coming, they'll just go and get them so as they can rescue them too. And you find in that war, much of them have been killed. Much of them because of the fight of one clan to another, because of the cattle raiding. Those ones that are coming for them, these ones they don't want, because they have to reach with them to this area. So it was not a security thing, because whenever this kind of the people were coming, they were coming and killing everybody. They were coming and making sure that they are making miscellaneous things unto that village. So it was a very hectic thing. And whenever some people will be talking such kind of a thing, it's just getting them back. Because not even in Kenya here, in Tanzania now, it was the most. Here in Kenya, at least the government, at least it put much of the security to the local clans and local tribes to make sure that they're controlling. But in Tanzania, until the 19th, the 20th century, and a little bit of 21st century, people were being smashed like something else. People were coming to raid cattle in a huge number of people. And that's the main point I was talking about. Whenever you say such kind of the things to the clan right now, you can be even arrested. Even whenever the government of Kenya can hear you talking about that, because now you are inciting and you are now making people to recall what has happened, because much of the people lost their own people, lost their relatives, lost their neighbors, lost their brothers and sisters, lost their guys. Even at the place we are, there are people who migrated from Tanzania because of that one. The Korean tribe, they migrated and they're now living in Kenya in peace. And whenever this kind of a person coming to Kenya and telling and getting instructions and just acting like a person doesn't understand, do you know that you can be accused with very many allegations? Because you are now triggering people to remember that people are living in Kenya. The people are living like squatters in Kenya right now because of that kind of the cattle raiding, and they never went back to Tanzania. and a person is coming without not knowing anything about it. He's just coming out and just perpetuating on his own stupidity and nonsensical thing and talk about what he doesn't know. Talking about this kind of, it was told even the government cannot withstand with you, and it cannot understand you whenever you talk such kind of the things in front of people, because you will be humiliating. You are now going to trigger some things that they left behind. And now there are people who left parents. There are people who the parents, they were smashed. The brothers and sisters. There are only, even in Kenya here, we have people from Tanzania who are living in Kenya. Only maybe they were ladies. They just ran and they found themselves where we are. They found peace in Kenya. There are people like me. I have people who are in Tanzania. Those people will send somebody to walk for like 400 kilometers to reach here. And whenever they come here, they come with a family. They come with people. And whenever they reach here, they say, oh, rescue us, help us, because we are being attacked in Tanzania. And now whenever a person is coming to Kenya and is just insinuating and telling people that, you know what, this kind of, is just recalling, and he might be doing something which is very terrible, recalling or making people to recall how they came out. Even some of the parents here who are aged, whenever you just tell them such kind of the stories, they will cry because it was something that was so bad to them. Because you will be seeing your brother being smashed, being speared alive. So even me, I can tell you I have a history, but I cannot recall and how the things were, because I was rescued too. I was a small boy. People were running from one place to another. My father had to run with me from one place to another to make sure that I'm secured. And much of even my father can tell, he lost some of the brothers. He lost some of the sisters because of that one. So we just went to Tanzania, guys. It was several years ago. And my father, you know, whenever my father will be getting one boy or a lady, mostly the boys. So he was going to introduce you to the people who are in Tanzania. So one day my father told me we can go. Then whenever we went there, and the cattle restaurants came, my father took me and the head here, placed me here, and he ran with me. And I just remember we were about to drown in one of the river because we could not get to, we talk about the bridge, because they are there already standing. My father had to swim with me, to swim in a crocodile river to make sure that he's going to be passing it. And that I have never went back, even if whatever comes, I've never gone back to such kind of a place my father got me there. Because still it was existing. And you know, in the traditional time, you are being introduced to a certain customs that whenever you are just here, you are being introduced to the other family. And whenever you're introduced to, we go there, and we just found that there's we can talk about, there's a very, a fight, civil war. It's just ongoing. One tribe to another tribe. And you are now subjected to such kind of the condition. My father had to run with me, And I can just recall, and that's why I can tell a story from A to Z on how it is. Not everyone is got such kind of the stories. Because I passed through it. And whenever a person is coming outside here to tell again so that you can intimidate me, it's something that's very awkward. And I'm just looking at you like you are just a puppet. You're like a baby. You don't understand me. There are people who have survived, people who are surviving, and no one could just tell. And whenever we reached here, we walked, no money, because the people are coming like rain. Gafla bin vu, once, hoa. You just hear, the houses are burning there. So I don't want to recall such kind of things. And that's why I was not in good times with this person. Whenever he was talking about the tribe, people are going to steal. Wait, I just recall how I was being running. And even my father, sometimes he went to a certain position and we were just hiding a little bit. And my father got a miscellaneous effect. He just was just, we can talk about, We just got much of, we can talk about the tree stump, the tree log that had was just there. So my father was just passing and running and jumping. So he got himself being getting a stick onto the leg, and he was crying like a baby. And I was with him, and he told me, "Get my shirt." Then I just put it in I can just remember I was a young boy, and right now a person is coming here to tell us that, you know what, this is just happening. So I was just not in a good condition with such kind of things. And that's why we say, if you don't know something and you don't know how to communicate, just please leave it aside, because you might be triggering some of the things that are not in good with other people, because we have ever seen it. Civil war is not something that's very good. And I can just remember I was just I was a very young boy. I don't know if he's 6, 5, 6. So we were just running like something else. And the person now is coming outside here to recall and retell you that what was being happening. So it was just awkward statement that was being brought. And he should just make sure that he's apologizing to this kind of the tribe. Even if you can tell the village elders who are here and whoever saw such kind of things can just bewitch you even. I can just remember. It was not a good thing. It was a hostile thing, guys. So that's why we always say that if you don't know a specific tribe, just keep quiet. You just go there and go back. So it's the same way somebody's coming to tell Gintu that I can just intimidate you. I can just call people to come for you. I'm just looking at them like they're just babies. They don't know what they're talking about. I've been subjected to much of the life. I've passed through life. I've seen it. That's why I engaged myself in every different activity. And anciently, I was the last born in my home. My father used to tell me, you have to do everything because you don't know tomorrow. So there's nothing you can just cheat me in Africa. There's nothing you can cheat me in our tribe here. I was subjected to it. I was being lured to make sure that I am passing through everything. And I was being prepared. You know, guys, in the ancient time, my father was preparing me to be a soldier here in Kenya. So it reached at a point, he said, no, because I have much of my sons at the army, no, I want to remain with you at home. So I was being given much of the lectures of becoming a fatherhood. So to make sure that everything is so fantastic. So somebody coming outside here to tell me that this and this and this, I'm just sympathizing with such kind of the people, and I'm just saying that maybe they don't know what they're talking about. So guys, if it's your first time you watching this video, wherever you are, keep subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting to make sure that we are grooving together as a team. And here we are, it's one-on-one live conversation, and we really say that Kenge must go. If these are the people who are being brought as visitors to come and antagonize our clan, antagonize our tribe, and is now cheering outside there, saying that now, yeah, you have triggered it. We are so embarrassed with it, and we really say that I should look forward to apologize. And if he cannot, I don't think he will ever step in Kenya. And that is the biggest thing ever possible. So keep it locked, keep it tuned. Next time, next year, same position, banana plantation, back on the street.